We're the official South African representatives of the festival. So our job and goal really from a Cannes perspective is the promotion of the festival in South Africa, both from an entry point of view as well as in terms of kind of the awards and the success, and then kind of how we bring that to the marketplace. And I think that kind of is strategically for Cannes, it's partly because media owners tend to be neutral with regards to brands and clients in particular. So they like being involved not with an agency or with a client direct, but rather with a media owner so that we can get out to everybody without biasing the awards. I think the second part of that is kind of what's in it for us. And what's in it for us is that the big screen, we believe, is kind of probably the most impactful place to see and engage with particularly AV content. That's why Spielberg makes films for the big screen and not for cell phones. And we think that that forms a great showcase for the best work that our industry from a commercial art perspective produces. So for us, that's the kind of gap, is we've got the right environment to show clients just what great work is about. I think any kind of festival, whether you're talking about the Oscars for film, Cannes Lions for the ad industry, and kind of a multiplicity of other Grammys in music, I think it's really important that an industry recognizes the talent and the kind of work that you produce and say, this is the best stuff that we've done. And I think that's important because it spurs you on to do better work. A great friend of mine in a creative agency, I remember him saying to me, he said, the highlight of seeing good work from your competitors is that kind of sense of, shit, I should have been doing that. And I think awards help spur on the development of what we do as a sector. And if you work on the premise that marketing communications is an important part of a business lifeblood to drive kind of consumer preference, brand purchasing, ultimately business results, because that's what we're in business for. Anything which helps us develop stronger, better work that's probably more touching to consumers, more compelling to consumers, more impactful for a brand, ultimately serves our industry well to continue to make us a viable avenue for clients to invest money in. I think that this year was a mixed set of results. Overall, looking at the global kind of portfolio of work, I don't think this was the strongest year of Cannes work that I've ever seen. There was still, as always, some brilliant stuff and some stuff that probably a little questionable. In terms of South Africa's performance, certainly better than last year. I think we're still underperforming in the film sector. We did quite well in kind of the integrated and experiential space. Obviously did very well in radio. I think it was a close run thing between the work that BBDO put out and the international winners. So on the whole, I think our representation was fair. I do think that the work in the film sector, we're probably not boxing at the right kind of level versus the creative talent that sits in the country, and I would say the same is true in the media space. There was an unbelievably good piece of work for Pedigree out of New Zealand, where the guys had used 3D technology or 3D kind of projection technology to create two completely different advertising viewing experiences. So two people sitting in the same cinema got to see two different ads based on whether they donated money to help save a dog's life. And, it's that kind of creativity. I mean, when have we as an industry had the opportunity to sit down and say, how can you create a communication experience for two people at the same time that shows them fundamentally two different pieces of work?